Yo guys, it's Old Man G here, back again with another video live stream for Red Devil Studio. I'm joined by Jay from its Rivals Fan TV. Is that correct, Jay?
Rivalry Aside TV, mate.
Sorry?
No, you're welcome. Rivalry Aside TV.
Rivalry Aside TV. So,
Rivalry Aside, yeah.
Guys, please head over to, obviously, you see his app. Please follow him on Twitter and please subscribe to Rivalry Side TV. Links will be in the description. So head over there and subscribe and support their channel on their way to 1K subscribers. So Jay is obviously a Manchester United fan. Like I said, thank you so much for helping me with this season review. I really appreciate it because it's just good to just bounce ideas. I think I went on your channel and we were quite. It wasn't a good experience. I think when regarding obviously the loss to Villarreal, but as part of us, and before I start getting into it, thank you guys for those in the comments. By the way, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio and follow me on Twitter as well. I'll obviously be trying to interact with the comments as we go through as well. So thank you so much for those who will be watching. So I know obviously we don't have a lot of time, so but I guess just getting straight into it, bro. Let's get straight into it, actually. I want to start positive because I think that obviously that we was very disappointing what happened in the final against Villarreal. There's a lot of anger, a lot of emotion, a lot of upset. But I thought what would be good, at least, to try and keep the balance, keep the perspective, is to talk about what actually were the highs. What did you think, in your opinion, were the best moments of this season? Because there were some good moments.
Yeah, I mean, it's a struggle, isn't it, to think now, because the emotions are so raw of last week. Still massive disappointment there, but try and look at those highs. And I'd probably, we had such a bad start to the season, but I think our going out the Champions League, but then our run in the Europa League was good because we had a really hard draw with AC Milan and then Roma in the semi-final. And we had a lot of tough games around them at the time. I think we played like midweek against, was it maybe Liverpool or West Ham, like back to back with the Roma game, and we still managed to come through there. So that I think that was a high point for me, and I really thought, we're solid going into this, and we're definitely gonna get some silverware finally.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. I guess to add to that, I would say that I still remember. I don't know what it was about that game, but that quarterfinal game against Everton in the League Cup for me was the best football I've seen for Manchester United play for years. You know, sort of the aggression, the pass and move, the harassing, the not. Even though we only won 1-0, I think if you remember the game I'm talking about. Even though we only won by 1 goal, just the manner in which we controlled the game, not the way Villarreal, we just had possession, but just what we used with the possession, you know, so the amount of chances we created, the fact that we literally harassed this Everton team, you know, so it was absolutely amazing. And it just almost said like, this is how Manchester United could play. This is what we could do. This is our potential, and to see a glimpse of that. And unfortunately, we didn't see a lot of that. But it almost just reminded me, and that's why I always try and be positive, that there clearly is a good team here, and Ollie can play good football. But for some reason, you know, it's safety. You know, but I don't know if there are other highlights. Would you say?
It's like, like again, when you said that, it just instantly reminded me of, you know, the 6-2 against Roma in the first leg. Like we obviously did start well, and went, was it 2 goals down we went, and Dzeko scored, didn't he, I think, and or maybe 1, but then we came back. But so many times this season we've gone behind first and then and come back and played really well. But like you said, we are a bit Jekyll and Hyde. But I think the good performances happen more frequently, and we just need to up that consistency. And I think we will, if we can just sign a few more quality players. You know, we just got some players who just, you know, they're in the first 11, but their quality's not that good, and they have the odd off game, and it really affects how the team plays. But when they all play well, then that's it. But had some really good results.
And let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Just a quick thing. Shout out to Red Devil Lab. Really appreciate it. Who makes your intros at Red Devil? I'll make sure I DM you, mate.
They're awesome. I was loving the pre-show myself, actually, thinking their quality. We need to get some of that on our channel. You have to let me know who that is.
Nice countdown too. So it means that if we have time to, if we need to set things up and stuff, you can still go live. Be on time.
Get you pumped, like the music when you're in the tunnel coming out to play at Old Trafford.
I'll send you my links, man. I'll send you my links. We beat City, best moments as Red Devil Lab. I think that away win was pretty good. Marlon says City versus Everton. Is that for you? Not for me, certainly. And then Box says Tottenham 1 versus 3 United was a highlight. Genuine. I agree with that, actually. I think that was a very good performance. You know, and again, the fact that we were behind as well in that, I'll bet we should have been ahead, because I remember, I think it was Scott McTominay fouled and we conceded from Son, and then to just come back.
Absolutely fuming about that. I was ranting. I think we were doing a watch along at the time with Luke, one of our Tottenham hosts from Rotherham Side TV, and then it came back in nicely and sealed it with the Cavani diving header at the end. That was a very satisfying result. Good shout, Box.
Very, very exciting. That's Tottenham's, I guess the top moments of this season, because unfortunately, would probably be our comebacks. And if you're looking at key games, I'm not going to lie. When Rashford scored that, I know we didn't qualify. When Rashford scored that goal against PSG, we won that game in Paris. I was like, man, this is yes, you know, and especially when Neymar and Mbappe were on the field as well. Because it was, you only beat Paris last year because Neymar wasn't playing. Like, well, Neymar and Mbappe on the field, and they didn't do anything. You know, I think they scored because Martial scored an own goal, if I recall. I think it was in the corner or something. So, but you know, any other?
The Champions League. The start was fantastic, wasn't it? And it looked like we were absolutely no problem going to go through. You know, won the first 3 games, and then we just had the away leg in Turkey. Just all we needed was a point there, and we probably would have been all right. And then we just had an indescribable performance where we were defending like under 10s. You always still remember that goal when they hit us on the counter attack, and there was just literally nobody there, was there? He ran from the halfway line. unchallenged and scored, and then we couldn't break them down. Like,
Mm.
just the defining moments. Like, if we win that, we should have won that game, and then we would have been through in the Champions League, and we wouldn't even be having the Europa League heartbreak. We probably would have gone out early in the Champions League, but at least we
Yeah,
wouldn't have that
that's
rubbish. You shouldn't put ourselves in that position.
Box has another. So beating Leeds 6-2 after 6 years of no matches. Someone's good. I mean, yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think I remember going up to the game. A lot of Leeds fans were starting to speak a bit, a bit above their station. I'm not going to lie. So like, yeah, we're going to come and play in Beelzebub and hate the United. And then Scott McTominay came on and was like, yeah.
He smashed in 2 goals in like the first 5 minutes or something, didn't he? Went absolutely nuts. Yeah.
See you later. So that was good. I mean, was there any even that Southampton game? I'm not going to lie. When Cavani came on as the second sub, and because weren't we 2-0 down? Yes, we were 2-0 down.
Yeah, we were 2 or 2-1 down, and he came on and scored 2, didn't he? And won the game for us. That was the moment when he arrived for me, because before then, the jury was still out, and it's like, how's his fitness going to be? Is he going to get that many games? And you could just see when he came on, his movement. Pogba and Fernandes find him every time, and he took those goals so well, didn't he? That's when he turned it for me, and I was like, okay, I'm eating humble pie. Okay, I can see why Solskjaer wanted him now. He's a proper striker.
Yeah. And I'm glad that I know we're linked with a few players, but for me, it's like it's just a professional. He is just a professional, and and we'll get into our best forward. I'm assuming it's going to be said person who's going to get above the best forward, but his I just didn't appreciate how good his movement was. Being in the right, even the goal that he scored against Villarreal. Again, it's just, I'm like, Rashford, Greenwood, they don't score that goal because the movement, being in the right position to score, it's so key.
The instinct. The only player I can think of in recent times, and he's reminded me today because I've seen all over Twitter, it's his birthday, is Chicharito, Javier Fernandes.
Yeah.
But he wasn't as good as a finisher or as powerful as Cavani. So I think he's an even better player. But his movement was always immense for United. I thought he was a great striker.
Right. Now, I think we could take on this obviously a fair bit before we get into our players. I mean, obviously you're the guest on the channel. Like, where would you start? I mean, maybe because there's probably quite a lot, to be honest. But let's look at what would be the top 3 worst moments, and then maybe after we've gone to our top 3, maybe a few honourable mentions. But what would you say will probably be you'd rank from third, obviously, to first? The worst moments.
I'll probably go through it in chronological order because that's the best way I can think about it. So I know, as I just mentioned, losing the away tie to Istanbul Besiktas in the Champions League, absolutely so disappointing because you just knew then PSG and Leipzig know the pressure's on us, and if they beat us, they knew that they had to win against United to have a chance of qualifying after we'd already beat them in the first game. So. And we smashed Leipzig. What was it, 5-0? We beat them at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
And just those last 3 Champions League games, so disappointing because the way we started off, like you said, beating PSG with Mbappe and Neymar on the pitch, and then we just dissolved with some terrible performances there. So that was the bad start, the bad one. Obviously, the start of the season as well, losing the first 3 of 6 games. But I really don't. I wasn't as disappointed about that because I knew it was going to be a really hard start of the season because we started so late. We missed the first match day of the Premier League along with Man City because we were still playing the Europa League semi-final from the season before. So we didn't have a pre-season. The players didn't really have a proper rest. So I always knew that was going to be a hard ask. And losing 3 out of 6 was still terrible, but I wasn't as disappointed as I will be next season if that happens when we've had a pre-season. Second for me is the FA Cup against Leicester. Because I know that was the weekend before an international break as well, and I don't know why inexplicably Ole he named such a second string team. It really surprised me. I could understand if we had a big game at the weekend, at the following week or in midweek in Europe or against one of the top 4 to get that top 4 spot, but it was like we had a week and a half off of international, so we should have just gone full out strongest team, and we won a cup. We want to win a cup, don't we? So the way we went out there was really disappointing, and I don't blame the players as much as I do blame Ole for the team selection because I don't think it was correct. And then last is probably the opposite, is obviously is the Europa League final. But I don't blame Ole in that case, because I think he picked the best team, and he picked a team that should have definitely won that match. So that's my theory, mate.
Okay. I think I agree, although but slightly different. I think my third, and maybe looks like I got carried away, but I think my third was when I think Box actually mentioned it in the comments, if I recall.
Yeah, that was a hard one to take, wasn't it?
That was a hard one to take, because it's sort of because in January
that was a bloody set piece as well, wasn't it? That was a Tuanzebe foul and a set piece in the last. That was quite like the final goal, wasn't it? Yeah.
Indeed it was, and it was almost an omen, because I remember all of January tweeting and saying, "Listen, we were on top of the league," and I was like, we could potentially challenge for his title, but we need to sign a centre back. And I almost every other day I would tweet, why, all I saw on Twitter was Ollie in, Ollie out. People. I think people are kind of thinking, we're on the top. If we sack him now, get another manager in to try and win the GOALKEEPER, and I kept on saying, like, forget about that. Why isn't anyone talking about getting signings in January so we can strengthen the squad to go on a run? Because there's going to be injuries. It's going to be difficult to challenge. We need to push on. If Liverpool can sign Kabak and Arsenal can sign or get on loan Odegaard, why can't we sign even if it's an on loan centre back to help? Because we've got injuries. Bailly and Lindelof were unreliable and so on. Obviously, fast forward, that Everton game, defensive howler. Fast forward again, we get a defensive howler for and that was the sort of almost the trend, and obviously we get out of the title race. So, that Everton game, that killer blow, almost set the omen for me for the rest of the season.
Pretty close, isn't it? Yeah.
But no cigar. Attacker's fine, but unfortunately, our defense brickish. Second, I think would be obviously Leipzig. I guess you could say Leipzig/Istanbul, because I think that, but I'd say specifically Leipzig because we needed to get the win. And unfortunately, we're seeing with Ole is that when the pressure seems to be on Ole, to get, if he's going to be sacked, the players step up. When it comes to actually, he needs to get a decision, a result regarding, a performance. He falters. And against Leipzig, we just need not to lose. And somehow we conceded 2 goals within the first, I think, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I know we got them quite quickly.
Dreadful start again, wasn't it? Yeah. Got it all to do straight away, straight on the back foot. Horrible.
I know we missed Fred, and I know that we missed Pogba, because I think, if I recall, Fred was suspended, so we couldn't play Fred. And then Pogba, he dropped Pogba because of the agent's comments. So I think we played a midfield of McTominay and Matic. I think that's, if I remember, which was always destined to fail. So that didn't work. And then obviously first is the Europa League final, because it was our main chance to win a trophy this season. While I do agree with you that I think the players should have been good enough, I still disagree with the fact that, taking 100 minutes to make a substitution to freshen up the squad when Emery made 5 in 90 minutes just wasn't good enough. And various,
left it too late for sure.
Yeah, various tactical things as well. It's mistakes. I mean, it wasn't ideal, but it's not been great at times, and I'm sure there are plenty of other worse moments. We'll probably dissect that towards the end, but I mean, just quickly, just have a look at some comments.
I see Red Devil Devilab. It was Ole's fault. I'm sorry, no subs, and when he did, they were bad ones. I take your point, and you've just mentioned it there, mate. Like how, we should have freshened it up way before that. I just think my point is the 11 he put out against the 11 Villarreal put out, we should win that game. You shouldn't be worrying about having to make subs to go and win the game. But you're totally right. Last 15, 20 minutes, he should have gone, throw all the attackers on. Not that we have many, but Amad Diallo at least, get him on, push Greenwood up front with Cavani, and even if we lose 2-1, I'd rather that than whimper out on penalties and make De Gea look like the villain, for sure.
Even the subs didn't, when he took them, didn't even make sense, because
like Fred for Greenwood, the first one, wasn't it?
And like, I'm fairly sure Marcus Rashford's the one that's having the bad game. It almost felt like we were playing for penalties.
I think he was caught in. I think by then he was like, too far's gone, and I'm caught in two minds. I don't want to take Rashford off because he's a good penalty taker. So he didn't roll the dice early enough, and he left himself in a position where he couldn't take those penalty takers off. I think you're right there.
And that's the thing. That's why I was kind of like, it goes back to your point that we should have the quality. So in my mind, it's like, so what you were basically saying is that you didn't think that your start 11 and your bench were good enough to beat Villarreal, even in extra time, in 30 minutes. You basically were saying, I want to be cautious. Let me not concede so we could take it to penalties and then trust the keeper. Because I would even get that if I had faith that De Gea could save a penalty. But I knew going into it, I think I told you, like, if we go to penalties, this man
oh my God, yeah. Didn't realise how bad his penalty record was. Yeah, since like 2015, 16. Like 5 years, 4 or 5 years. It's like 25 penalties in a row, wasn't it, before then? And then he's just conceded another 11.
I thought he might have done a Van Halen thing, using the 5-6 substitutions. But okay, I'll bring in Dean Henderson to
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Because I think I'll put this out right. Dean Henderson would have saved at least one. I'm sorry, he would have saved at least. The whole squad. How bad. If you essentially the whole Villarreal squad scored their penalties.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, it's a lottery, but on a couple of them, he went the right way, right? At some point, you're going to guess the right way, and it's just about getting a strong hand to it. But the couple he did go the right way, he didn't quite commit, and one of them was slightly high, and he almost got his left hand to it as he went, and it was like, I agree. Like, you can see he's not got much confidence with penalty saves, although it looks like he's not saved one for so long.
No. Just quickly, so losing at home to this Arsenal side, was embarrassing. I think Arsenal fell to win in their next. The funny thing about that box is that was almost worth it because I saw AFTV a few times. You could see how gassed they were beating United at Old Trafford, only to basically be where they are. It was quite funny.
They thought they were back, didn't they? Then they thought that was it. They thought we're getting back. We're back into the Europa League, boys.
Arteta and Ollie, let you know.
Yeah, that was a shocker, wasn't it? That was a dreadful performance. That was a bit of a like you said about Ole's tactics in that game. You could see he was a bit scared. It's early on in the season. You don't want to lose. Don't want to push too far and get caught and lose that way. But it seemed like we settled for a point, and then Pogba gave away the penalty towards the end, didn't they? And Aubameyang scored. So yeah,
Daniel Henkel. Comment.
Go on.
I was just kidding. Daniel Henkel says best moment was the baptism of Roma. Worst moment was the Demba Bar goal from the halfway line and the Villarreal game, heartbreaking.
That was a Demba Bar, wasn't it? Oh.
I will DM you, Tom. I will definitely DM you, mates. Stay tuned. Good point. We signed David Alex Telles and they barely got a game. Box says I was pissed off of that 4-2 as Liverpool. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, we did it. Agent Ole gave Leicester all the tools for the job, didn't he? We lost the game to Leicester, gave them the points, they were in the bag, but they went and lost against Newcastle or whoever, dropped more points. And then obviously the whole protest and all that stuff. But yeah, that was I think just Liverpool, they knew they had to get it, didn't they? And we just on the day we didn't have the quality to for an answer.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It would have been so nice, wouldn't it, to have beat them and dumped them out, and then they ended up finishing third. Horrible to take.
Let's quickly. So I'm going to just quickly screen share this. So just quickly go to our playing. So let me. How do I do this again? 1 second. Yes, I think this is it. Sweet. Yes. Okay. So as you can see to my right, it's obviously the Manchester, but it's easy to show you players. We're going to go through these sections: 5 best goalkeeper, best defender, best midfielder, and best forward for the season, and then afterwards. Our top 3 underperformers. So get involved in the comments who you think is give your best goalkeeper, defender, midfielder comments as we go through. But J-Man, obviously, these are our goalkeepers: De Gea, Lee Grant, Sergio, Dean Henderson, and if I scroll, who's that? That's Pereira. That's Joel Pereira still there.
Yeah. We've got 5 keepers, and all I see on the news is about assigning more keepers. What is going on? Tom Heaton and Oblak coming. We don't need keepers.
This club, man. This club, I mean, you know, it's anyway.
Every transfer window, it's just so frustrating, isn't it? So frustrating.
I can't. I respect the United fans that are able to make transfer videos. When I first started channel a year ago, I was making them, you know, almost daily. Wake up morning and make a short video. I can't do that anymore now. Like,
you soon learned, yeah.
But it's basically going to be between De Gea and Dean Henderson. Who do you think was the best keeper for United this season?
I think it's Henderson for me. I think his, you know, pretty much breakthrough season after having a really good season at Sheffield United. He's obviously done enough to. He was given the nod, wasn't he, for sort of the second half of the season in the league, and De Gea became the cup keeper. They both had a few games and made a couple of mistakes, and Henderson made that one against AC Milan in the first leg, for when they scored the away goal, which made it a bit touch and go, a bit of a nervous second game away. But you know, we managed to get a great result over there in the San Siro. But I just think Henderson looks like he's improving all the time, and I think when De Gea was his age, I don't think he was as good when he first came on the scene. He was quite lightweight, and from set pieces and stuff, he made a few mistakes and got bullied around. But I think, you know, the year of experience at Sheffield United and being English as well, and knowing the Premier League, and he's just been picked in the England squad as well. So yeah, I think he's the one for me this season, and I hope. Well, I don't hope, because it's bad for De Gea. He's been an amazing servant for the club, but his wages are just so much money on a goalkeeper. If we want to go out and try and get Sancho or Haaland or Kane or whoever, we've got to free up some of that wage bill, and I think he's going to be the person who they're going to do that for.
Yeah, it's a tough one, to be honest. But I'd say there's the only reason, I guess, why I go maybe for Henderson, I guess, might be just the Europa League final. I think, you know, because to be honest, for most of the season, I can't really put. I always say that Dean Henderson is that David Gea is a better shot stopper than Dean Henderson, and Dean Henderson is, for me, his distribution is better than De Gea's, just in terms of his, you know, kicking the ball, etc. But I just think it's unfortunate that I just think that his performance in not his performance, but what happened with the Europa League is almost, I shouldn't do that, but just the fact that
it's fresh in your mind, it's hard not to.
Fresh in my mind, but also because I'm almost 90% certain that if Dean Henderson was in that goal, he would have saved at least one penalty. I know that. I'm almost 90% sure that would be the case. So it's kind of like, well, if I know that, then surely Dean Henderson should be ahead of De Gea if there's not that much difference in the performance this season, because he would be the better shot stopper. And I think that, and again, it's no disrespect to David De Gea. I think David De Gea has been a loyal servant, and I mean, Danke Hunkin says David De Gea has massively declined since the 2018 World Cup. Highest paid player and was making mistakes on a regular basis last season. Henderson's a good sweeper keeper, but still suspect with shot stopping. Exactly. That's for me where I see Henderson's weakness is that De Gea is still a better shot stopper than Dean Henderson, even though he makes positional mistakes. But it's close, but I agree with you, Dean Henderson.
I think it's like De Gea's reactions are better, and I think I always remember the game against Arsenal at the Emirates a few years ago. I think he made like 12 or 13 saves. He does the good thing with his legs where it's almost like a cricket stop and one leg goes down and out. And Henderson, he will improve there, I think, but I just think at the moment he's got more of a complete package. You said about the distribution. We all remember when Luke Shaw scored against Man City and he did that incredible throw, you know, picked Luke Shaw out straight away, and he came in, did a 1-2 and scored the goal. So I just think he just seems more commanding and confident, and especially from set pieces where we're so weak. If you've got a goalkeeper who's strong, who can just come out and claim the ball, you haven't got to worry about your average defenders. That's why I think I'd pick him. De Gea just doesn't do that. He's never done that. He's never been one to, you know, smash strikers out of the way and just grab the ball.
Boxer's wife says Romero, Grant, Joe Prep all out of contract. I think okay, so that probably makes sense. So they're probably going to let all those guys go. So Romero, I mean,
Is he still the number one for Argentina? Because he's a great goalkeeper. I think he's just unfortunate.
This is another person again. Do you think that Romero would have saved? Romero would have saved?
Probably, like 11 penalties. Surely, just law of averages and ability.
You seem to forget that Romero wasn't the one in goal when we won the Europa League last time. It's almost like we make it sound like if Romero was in goal when we won the Europa League under Jose with a worse squad, why was he somehow now not good enough for the Europa League this season?
Yeah, he's had a tough deal. I think he has had a bit of harsh treatment. He's been really good for United. He's been a great backup keeper and a cup keeper. Like you said, he's won trophies with us as well. So I hope he goes and gets a number one jersey somewhere. I think he deserves it, really.
As far as I'm aware, he was in goal. He was definitely in goal for the Europa League and I think the League Cup when we won that in that season with Jose. I'm not 100% sure whether he was in goal for the FA Cup under Van Gaal. But the point is, like, the two of the trophies that we talk about winning, he was our goalkeeper, So I agree with you. I think he's been harshly treated. And if you told me that we were starting Romero in goal in that final, etc., I would have said I would have had no problem with that because United, as you said, United are blessed with having good keepers. We just have other areas in our squad that we need to deal with,
I think Box's comment is right. He did, didn't he? He got left out of the semis last year. I really don't like it when managers do that, when they play a cup keeper, but then when it gets to the semi and the final, they change it back. Like, come on, that you put them in all the way through. I know you want to win, but surely they've got the confidence and they're in the team. I would stick with him. I would stick with him for sure.
I was fuming with. I mean, this is the thing about the whole De Gea because it's kind of like, and my issue with Ollie at times is that, like, his man management is good, but it seems to be to a certain extent, let's put it that way, because good man management would have said, listen, De Gea, you've been in goal for the league games, let Romero have his thing, but you put him in goal that next season. Then this season, in order to keep De Gea happy, whether that's you or whether that's the board, I don't know, you don't have the conversation. Say, listen, if you're not confident taking penalties or being in goal, bring on a Dean Henderson or something. It's about the whole team. And this is the problem sometimes when, like, as a manager, like you still have to instill the fact that it isn't just about making individual players happy. Sometimes it's about making the whole team happy.
Totally, mate. Yeah. It's a team game at the end of the day, isn't it? And it's difficult to do, but I agree with you. Let's
quickly move on. So I'm talking for England, but we're going to so best defenders. Like, we basically Dean Henderson. And guys, there's a poll on the community. There's polls in the community tab, and please get involved. Please cast your vote into who you think was the best goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and forward. And we'll be doing separate videos for them after this. So here are defenders now. Obviously the page, but. So we've obviously got Victor Lindelof, Bay, Jones.
Some names in there, aren't there? Yeah, Delot's not even there. He's on loan. He's probably going, isn't he?
Tellez, Brandon Williams, Mengi, Will Fish. Who has been our best defender this season, would you say?
I think it's got to be Maguire, really. I think he's been so consistent. I know. I think he's a bit of a Marmite player. Some people love him, some people hate him. I've had my moments where he's really done my head in this season. I think it's more some of his comments and his attitude after the West Brom game when we drew 1 each away. He came out and he was like, "Oh, you're not going to come to West Brom and get loads of chances. It's going to be difficult." And I was just like, I didn't like those comments and that mentality. Like, Man United should be. And the captain of the team should be like, we're going to come here today, boys. We're going to do a professional job. If we play to our ability, we will win. But I think since around that point, that was around Christmas time, I think he was so consistent, and you could just see when he played, we looked so much more solid at the back. And some players, they just have an impact, even when it's not their ability, just the way they communicate. And I think having that player next to you, like, look at Liverpool when they lost Van Dijk, even before Gomez got injured, you could see straight away the difference at the back and the confidence. The whole team, like, just the whole chemistry changes. And when we lost him towards the end of the season, our form our form dipped off, and I don't think that's any coincidence at all. So, and you know, he's in the England team. You can see the importance to Southgate. He's saying it's touch and go for the first game, but I think everybody knows, and everybody I've seen, even when they've picked England teams, they've all said he's got to be our first choice centre back for England as well. So yeah, I think he's not it's not his fault. The price tag and 80 million for a defender is crazy, but yeah, I think he's justifying it to an extent with his consistency and his availability. You know, he wasn't injured all season until right towards the end, and he was really good.
I said we agree. I think I would probably go for Shaw, to be honest, in terms of the whole season, because while I agree, obviously, that I think certainly compared to other centre backs in terms of consistency, that Harry Maguire is definitely up there. I just think in terms of the whole season, in terms of consistency, I just think that Luke Shaw, for me, this was probably, you know, with despite the fact that he didn't perform, didn't have a great game in the final, the Villarreal, I get that. But I think overall, I think he's been the most consistent player and certainly the most improved player this season. We bought Alex Telles, you know, to compete, to almost knock Shaw out, and he somehow was able to get, basically, I mean, Alex Telles made him a bench player, and even though I don't like Telles to play more and for Shaw to have gotten some more rest, Shaw's performances generally this season have been very, very solid, and you know, without him playing at times, like, to be honest, at times, especially with Ollie's position, we've not even really had that much of attacking threat. Certainly from the left-hand side, you can see when the match was ball, where his importance, his crossing, I think he arguably delivery-wise is probably one of our better players this season, even better than the likes of Daniel James and Rashford and some of our supposed wingers. Although shout out to Wan-Bissaka, he sort of got better at it as the season got over, which was good. And then obviously his defending, you know, so generally was overall solid. So I think for me, and I think Shaw for me would be I don't know. Again, in the comments, let me know, guys, who your best defender is. But yeah, do you have any other thoughts, Jay?
Yeah. So yeah, obviously got to give a nod to Luke Shaw. He won the Players Player of the Year, didn't he? So that goes to tell you what the rest of the team thinks of him and how he's improved. No doubt, yeah, he's been, like I said, his set pieces. He's taking corners now. He's taking free kicks from out that side. His attacking creativity has been brilliant. He's been chipping in with assists, and his fitness. I think he looks great. That he runs all game long now. He never. I think under Mourinho, his fitness was in question, and he was being called out in the media by him, wasn't he? And I think that must have damaged his confidence. But yeah, he's been absolutely brilliant. I think the only reason I give Maguire the nod over him is because I think when we miss Maguire, I think it affects the team more. You see at the back how much worse we are without him in the team. Losing Shaw is still massive, but Telles is a much better replacement than the likes of a Phil Jones or a Tuanzebe or a Bai coming in.
Won't even mention Phil Jones' name.
So I just think he's so important to the team. But yeah, no, Shaw is touch and go between him and Shaw. Shaw's been incredible as well.
I'm wondering where you could Google. When does Phil Jones' contract actually end? Because somebody in the club
didn't he get a new contract last year? Wasn't it last year they gave him? It must have given him another year at least.
He signed a 4-year contract.
Was it 4 years?
When did he sign this, man? How much does he have left?
I just had a quick Google as well before you got the defenders out about the penalty records, because we were obviously looking at De Gea before. We're just looking at Dean Henderson's. I forgot he saved a penalty this season for us against Real Sociedad in the Europa League, and in his career he's saved 8 penalties and he's conceded 11. So that's a really good penalty record for a goalkeeper. That's like nearly 50% success rate. So you look at De Gea's saved about 20 and conceded 60 or something. So that doesn't help.
That's why I had to be harsh on Ollie, because the stats are there. So they're there. The odds are that Henderson would have saved at least one. I'm not saying all of them, but at least one.
That's all we needed, wasn't it? Because we were great. All of our players took good ones.
Basically, their whole team basically scored past the guy. Their whole
Yeah.
11 in the field, just even their goalkeeper scored.
The standard of the penalties were absolutely mental. The goalkeeper's one, it literally, he just ran up and took a goal kick, didn't he? He just absolutely levered it into the roof of the net. Amazing.
Mo says Shaw has been our most consistent player overall this season. Maguire second, fair enough. And then Box says Shaw set a standard himself. Okay, fair enough.
Really has, yeah.
So
glad he's in the England squad. I think he'll be first choice left back.
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah.
What a comeback for him. He's had a real hard time after breaking his leg and being put in the mire with Mourinho, and it's great to see. He realised his potential. Didn't want him to be one of those players who are incredible at 18 and then just end up retiring at 27 and going to play for like Newport or something.
Chilwell's in the England squad, isn't he? He is in the England squad. Yeah, Chilwell. Yeah, so he'll be just for him and a left back spot. Right. Here we go. Best midfielder. So we're on to our midfield players here, obviously. Paul Pogba, Juan Mata, Lingard, Pereira. I mean, you could get rid of Pereira, Manchester, and Leslie Lingard because obviously not at us. Well, Ahmad obviously. I want to put down James as a midfielder, but okay. Fernandes, Fred, Palestri's obviously on loan. Matic, Van der Beek, who I really feel sorry for. Gunnar, who's on loan. Scott McTominay, obviously Hannibal. I hope it has a lot of potential, but it's
Did you see his unveiling for the Tunisian national team? Because he chose to play for Tunisia over France. If you've not seen the video, you need to find it on Twitter and check it out. It's the most incredible thing. They've got like opera music, dark, and then the flames come out and he walks out. It's like the final of X Factor or something. It's absolutely mad, mate. Check it out. So funny.
No, I need to look at that.
They have hyped him up big time. He's like, he must be the next big thing. And I'm taking a side here. But this is the thing about, I do generally believe that we have a lot of talented young players, and I generally believe that, like, even more so than some of our first team players. But they need game time. I'm not saying they're world-class beats. I'm not saying that at all, but they need to be playing regular games. And what I see with Chelsea, with Arsenal, similar teams, is that they send their players on loan. And these guys do bits. Look at Arsenal and Joe Willock and what he was doing. I don't want to see going into the season, unless you're going to at least play these games, not set regularly, but maybe on the bench, substitutions in games. If you're not going to do that, then send the likes of Ahmed, Alonga, Hannibal, etc. on loan to either other Premier League teams or maybe Spanish teams, etc. to get the experience. Definitely, yeah. It's a hard one, isn't it? So, like Hannibal did, obviously, he did really well in the under-23s, but I think that's it. He's bossing that now, and he needs to move up. And definitely, a year. I think a year on loan somewhere we can start games. But you're all right. That's the key, isn't it? You don't want them being in and out of the team and they're not really gaining proper experience. You want minutes. That's what changes it. Like Garner, you mentioned about Garner, he's done really well at Nottingham Forest, and they really liked him. And I think maybe he can come back and actually, challenge for the team. I don't know. Yeah,
no, exactly. Because to be honest, like, we know that the Glazers are gonna be terrible when it comes to signing players, signing good players. So to be honest, I don't know a single team in the Premier League that relies so much on its academy than Manchester United, to be honest. And we're pride about it, and I think that's good. But at the same time, it's kind of like, it's also, this is why we don't also have to buy players.
Tunisian royalty, it honestly did look like that in that video. It's amazing.
Best midfielder.
We'll probably break it, like you said, some of these are probably more attacking, aren't they? I'd maybe break them down into two. Obviously, it's got to be Bruno, player of the year again, tearing it up, 28 goals, 18 assists, like amazing stats. Better than Lampard in his best season for Chelsea, and it's only and we didn't even win anything. So imagine if we get some actually decent strikers and more creative players around him, then he is probably world class. He's our one of our best players for years. In fact, best signings for a long time. Lingard had a really great loan spell at West Ham. I don't think he'll come back. I hear apparently Ole is giving him a reprieve and he might give him a second chance, which I was quite surprised at. I thought they would, cash in on him there and get his 100 grand wage bill off the books as well, because he shouldn't be on 100 grand a week, in my opinion. But
where's he going to play though? I don't understand.
This is what I mean. Yeah, surely he doesn't. He's not gonna. Not gonna knock Rashford or Greenwood or probably Dan James even. Pogba, just like we don't. He's surplus of requirements, isn't it? In my opinion.
But this is the thing about the squad where, like, and I got into an argument on another channel, so where I said, like, listen, we also need to the club needs to try and offload players, not because even some of those players are bad, but we need space for potential young talent to come in and have a chance, i.e. your Amads, your Lankas, your things, etc. Because they need to at least give them a chance, because you don't know what might happen from them, much like what Jude is doing at Dortmund. But at the same time, you obviously have your starting 11. So if you've got Lingard coming back, well, you still got Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, now Mason Greenwood because he's very senior, now Edison Cavani, now Daniel James, possibly a Jadon Sancho, maybe if we're linked to him. And then I think Mata's probably going to leave, so I'll exclude Mata for now. That's 6 players for 3 positions, and then you've got to add Lingard onto that, so 7 players for free. And then not Mads and stuff. So
he's going to come in. Hopefully, he'll continue and keep cutting out the deadwood. I think he has been pretty good at that since he's been there. Apart from for some reason they gave Phil Jones a new contract. Like he must have the Glazers nudes or something. There's just no way how he keeps getting contracts and deals at the club. I don't know, but I think. Other than that, I'd probably it's got to be Fred and McTominay for their importance to the team and the position they play in the system. I would give the nod to McTominay, another youth product. He's got quite a few goals. I think he's got seven goals this season, which is the same as Anthony Martial in the positions that he played. I just think he's really important. He was our best player in the final. He's probably one of the only ones who can hold his head high, and he came out and he gave it his all and played a really good game there. And I just like his style, the way he plays. He gets stuck in with the tackles. He jumps into headers. Even if it's like 50-50, not going to get the ball, he lets the players know they're there, and that's what you want in a centre mid who's trying to enforce the midfield. So I think they're the two. They're the two for me.
I think for me the two, I always go with obviously Bruno Fernandes and what he's achieved. Even though I think that from January, I think that his form did slip, in part maybe because he was playing every game, and all the fact that he kept on getting marked out of several games, as he did in the Villarreal game. And then Paul Pogba, to be honest, because despite the issues surrounding Paul Pogba's entourage, I think that on the field in general, he's always been a professional. And there were so many games where I could certainly see when they moved him onto a left-hand position, the amount of chances that we created for likes of Greenwood, likes of Cavani, etc., went up. And I think Bruno flourished as a result of that, because suddenly they had to think about dealing with Paul Pogba in that more advanced position than necessarily with Bruno, So that synergy between the two, I think, was key for us progressing, So, and when you take Pogba out that side in particular, I noticed severely that we created so little when it comes to chances going forward, and obviously trying to break teams down. So Europe, and the irony is that I felt that you saw that in the Villarreal final, because any time we play Pogba and McTominay together, and I've seen this so many times this season, is that Pogba often plays the deeper role, and McTominay is the one that's more advanced. So he doesn't get in that creative position. He's not more attacking. He doesn't go and play and create chances and contribute and break, because he's busy protecting the back two, which gives us problems, So for me, I obviously, although people don't like his entourage, I still think that Paul Pogba is an important player for Manchester United, and still one of our best players. And for me, if you don't have him there, you only really have Bruno on a good day, really creating the chances. And obviously Shaw as well. I think this season he's done it. So for our attackers and for us to score goals, outside of those two, It's not coming.
Yeah.
It's coming from anybody else, unfortunately.
Definitely, he should be in there for his creative play and not sitting deep in a double pivot with Fred or McTominay. No way. He's got so much talent and needs to get forward. He's the most frustrating player at United. You know what he can do. You've seen what he does for France. You saw what he did for Juventus, and he turns up in some games for United. It's just not enough for me. A few years ago when we were losing against City and they were going to win the title, and he scored 2 goals there and we won the game. Like, that's what he should be doing more often. He's that good. He is as good as Fernandes. I think he's got more rangy in his body. He's stronger, and he should be really good at heading. You know how tall he is, but I don't know what it is. It's just he just needs to apply himself, and if he can really do it, he'd be amazing. But I just don't think his full commitment is there for the club. He doesn't play enough to that level for me, which is just it's such a shame. I think, I don't know, maybe he will go this summer. It's always, you just never know with him, do you? He's always so up and down. His performances, his entourage, his agent, his demeanor. You don't ever really know.
I think in fairness to Paul Pogba, since the issue with Union, I think he's been a professional field. And that's what I say about Paul Pogba, is that, like, I don't count the number of, like, terrible performances that he's had. Certainly this season. Obviously previous seasons is one thing. But this season, going certainly from January, when obviously when Bruno, I think, for me, had his dip, there were quite a few games. I remember. I think the one specific I remember, Milan was a good one when he scored the goal, when he away goal, for example. I remember the goal against West Ham. And a lot of games where I think one of the things that I just think that that hasn't helped this squad fundamentally is just our defense. And I think that, I almost feel for, like, our attackers, our front six, because we have at times a very good front six that create goals, that score goals, etc. And as the Everton game proves, like, boom, popping around, scoring games, awesome. And then we then concede from set pieces, and it's I almost feel frustrated, because it's kind of like, despite that, you can even play an 8 out of 10 game, but it's irrelevant.
Yeah, that's it.
You're going to concede. You have no faith in conceding in the 95th
lapse of concentration and a howler, and all your hard work's undone. You mentioned a few goals there. I remember the Fulham one as well, again at Craven Cottage towards the end of the season, where he cut in, scored that amazing goal on his left foot. So you're right, he has pulled us out a few times and got us results. I'm probably being too harsh on him, to be fair, but it's just because you just know how good he is. You just want him to do it more often. But
no, I definitely agree, mate. Right. I know we're going over time, so I'll quickly speed through. I mean, I think this should I'm assuming this is going to be a fairly, even though I would give an honorable mention to Mason Green, because I think that he has improved massively this season under who I think is the best forward this season. It's got to be Edison, surely. It's got to be Edison. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. 17 goals. 5 assists, and he wasn't even starting every game, was he? Really, he probably played 3/4 of a season rather than a full season. So if he's actually our main man and playing every game like he should be, I'll probably get 25-30 next season. Greenwood as well, had a really good sort of end of the season. The last third of the season went on a good run, didn't he? Ended up with 12 goals. It's a good return. He had a tough start of the season with his antics with England, and then the Man City youth player that took his life, and apparently he knew him, didn't he? And so he had some personal issues there, which was hard for him to take. So it's good to see him come back. I think Rashford as well, 21 goals and 12 assists. That's like nearly 35 goal contributions. I think take for granted at how good he is. You're seeing it year on year now, and hopefully he can get over this niggly injury. I'm a bit worried about him. I kind of wanted what happened to Mason Greenwood to happen to him for England. I'd like him to just take the summer off and rest and come back for United strong and have a good World Cup next year, because I worry that he's going to get run into the ground for England as well and have some bad long-term injury or something.
No, I agree, and I mean, I said to few people before that I'm still quite annoyed that he's going to Euros, to be honest, because I don't know where the rest is going to come from, and I think that's going to carry over to next season, which is not really ideal. But actually, I agree. So I'm not going to spend too long because, to be honest, I mean, the only thing with Edison is that we know that he can't play 2-3 games a week, etc. So I think that with the Champions League, the league, it's again going to be about management, and I think this is where, for me, well, in an ideal world, I think I told us on the channel, I would say, right, left wing, Rashford, Martial, alternate between the two. Number 9, Greenwood, Cavani, and then on the right you have Ahmed and Jadon Sancho. That for me is the front six. Everyone else out there is surplus to requirements.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, that's what you need. Yeah, back up in each position. You can rotate them as well. They can switch wings. Yeah, that's awesome, mate. Proper interchange. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Because Edison is not going to be able to play, 2, potentially even 3 games a week. I might expect that because he does pick up niggling injuries, So I think that you've got to start using Greenwood in that, because in that number 9 role, I think Rashford and even Martial, as bad a season Martial has, you at least put them on the left. They're better coming on from that side, and you give Greenwood that opportunity. Offensive fullback says, fire Solskjaer. You guys never win anything relevant with this great coach. Well, unfortunately, we can't fire him because we're not the Glazers.
So if only we had fan ownership and the Glazers were out, maybe we could actually have a vote and have a say on it. But
exactly. So I understand the sentiment, but unfortunately, I don't have the power to do anything about that. We're not Chelsea Football Club that can fire a coach every season and still win a Champions League. Unfortunately, or fortunately. Rashford had a bad second half, but we shouldn't forget he has 35 goal involvements. Exactly, man. And I say I don't disagree with Marcus Rashford sort of being up there. I just think that you can see, I think, as a forward, I think you can see the contribution that Edison Cavani has made to United, but also I think to the team as well. So yeah, an agreement there. So quickly moving swiftly on to just almost run up. So just a quick 3. Who would you say top 3 underperformers? You don't have to give a detailed explanation. Just who you think.
Definitely Martial from the forwards. Yeah, for sure. I know he's been on and off with injury, but I just don't. He just didn't have a great season at all, and obviously had the injury which took him out towards the end. Then, so that was disappointing. Who else? It's a tough one, isn't it? Probably. I think Eric Bailly's been way below par than he has been for us previously. Solskjaer seems to prefer Lindelof and Maguire, so when he's come in, I thought he'd take his chances a bit more and try and cement himself into the first team, but he hasn't looked that convincing for me at all. And I think in seasons gone by, he looked like he was going to nail down the first choice position, but hasn't really happened for him.
See, I'll disagree with that because in that run, when we were getting to the top, when we were top of the league, he was playing as centre back alongside Maguire. When we were near to when Lindelof had to be out because he was injured and a back injury, and then obviously Lindelof came back into the squad, and then I think Bailly then had COVID. I think when he came from Ivory Coast,
he did, after the internationals.
So I agree that certainly recently he's not been as good, and part I'm like, is that because of latent COVID? Because obviously, that could be a thing. Is that because again he works better with Harry Maguire? Because when he was playing with Harry Maguire, when we're in that run, I still remember when he made that. I think what was it? Was it against Villa? I think it was against Villa when we were like when he made that clearance off the line, when we were literally, which made us basically go to top of the table, and we and everyone around the team. It was one of the most warmest moments of that season because we made that clearance. Everyone,
yeah. Like, I remember what you're talking about.
And everyone hugged and was like, "Yeah," and pat him on the back and come on and stuff. And that team camaraderie,
proper team performance, isn't it? When you're getting congratulated for doing a block or a clearance. Yeah, you're right. I do remember that. You make a really good point, mate. I didn't think of it that way. Maybe it's the Maguire partnership. I'm probably thinking of the games when he was with Lindelof, and it was probably Lindelof's effect on him more than Maguire. So yeah,
this is the thing. I'm just thinking, I mean, maybe it's my personal opinion, but I just think that if we obviously we need to buy a centre back, but if we don't buy a centre back, which hopefully we should, it's got to be Maguire and Bailly for me. I think in terms of attributes, because I always say to buyers that whatever you say about Bailly, at least he is reckless. At least he will tackle. At least he will try. He won't get bullied. He won't get pushed around or go from the ball. Like, Lindelof is still terrible in the air, and he just gets bullied all the time. He gets pushed. He gets shoved. Like he's just not. He's maybe better at passing than Bailly slightly, but
he's not physical enough, is he, for a defender?
I need my defender.
Premier League.
Yeah, you need to be able to just, or even against Villarreal, man, you need to be able to be a bit more aggressive and shrug things over. You can't just, it's not really ideal, man.
I think probably from midfield, I saw Moada said about Matic. Yeah, I think whenever Fred or McTominay have been missing, obviously Pogba's dropped in there and done a job, but we've been relying on Matic in seasons gone by, and I think his legs have just completely gone now. Every time he plays, he doesn't look reliable enough. And I think that 40 million those few years ago is done and dusted. And I think that's another position we really need to strengthen as well, because I think he'll probably be going soon.
Van der Beek, he hasn't been given a chance.
Van der Beek,
it's a difficult one. It's
very difficult to judge, in that he's hardly played, man. He needs to run in the team. Then he needs a good 5-10 games in his strongest position to try and see what he's actually about and what he can do. Getting a few, starting 1 in 10 games and coming on for 5 minutes off the bench is just no idea.
I mean, I think I would probably agree with most, to be honest. Martial, Matic, and Lindelof are probably the three that I would say, I guess, overall have underperformed. I mean, I'm not going to. Phil Jones hasn't even kicked the ball, so I'm not even going to include him. Obviously, there's a lot of players into him, so that haven't really been given a shot and people on loan. I'd even put that in Twansibi, So I mean, I don't think Twansibi has been given enough games to really to make an opinion of him. Although, yes, he made a mistake. I think that was a mistake against Leicester or something game. But at the same time, he pocketed Neymar and Mbappe in PSG. And so
I would like to see him promoted up and be Maguire and Bailly, or Maguire and Tuanzebe, and they be the backups for each other. Yeah, I think Lindelof should be the bottom of the pile, but for some reason he's topping.
I would have started the final with Twansibi and Bailly, to be honest. Legit, no joke. I would have said Twansibi and Bailly as the centre back pairing, and we're going with that, because both of them are quick and both of them are fairly decent in the air and problem solved. But quickly moving on, I guess your quick take on this, and I'll see if I can just quickly load them. But obviously, ever since the loss and Twitter, and thank goodness that we're actually going into the Euros now. But it's all about this man now. Ollie in or Ollie out or Ollie indifferent. Jay?
In for me, mate. It's got to be in. Obviously, it's so hard to hate somebody who won you the Champions League in the fashion he did and scored goals against Liverpool in the FA Cup, and it is difficult for me to see past that. I know my Ole tinted glasses are on, and I try and be as objective as I can. And as I've said, on here, I mentioned about the Leicester FA Cup game. I was annoyed at him with his team selection there, and he didn't make substitutes quick enough in the final. So he is a young manager in the day, and he's going to learn, and he will improve. But I just think, we talked about Chelsea and how they sack managers and they just keep going on and win. But they spent over 200 million in the summer. I think even if Lampard stayed, they probably would have won something with the depth of the squad and the team they have. They brought in a really experienced, good manager who's won countless titles at PSG. So I just think the way he's come in and he's changed what seems like the mood around the camp. It seems like it's a happier team. I saw that apparently he brought in like all the sports science people back. Apparently Mourinho got rid of all of them, and he was like, fitness is just done by the eye test. You don't need any of the numbers and stuff to tell you that. Which tells me like he knows what he's doing a bit better. He's bringing through some really good youth players. You know, he's going to make a player out of Greenwood. McTominay's doing really well. Don't get me wrong. I know there's some big names out there, and that's what the people want, and they want the success now. They want it instantly. But look, I talked about Jurgen Klopp earlier in the week, saying about he obviously came from Dortmund and he won the league there. But in his first 3 seasons at Liverpool, they didn't win anything. They lost the Europa League final as well to an Unai Emery team in Sevilla. That was his first season, but then they finished 4th 2 seasons in a row. So after he had his 3rd full season and he was backed in the summer, that's the important thing. You know, they went and signed Mo Salah, they went and signed Van Dijk. And those couple of players made a massive difference. And I honestly think we're not far off. We get a few players like that. If he actually gets backed and he gets the squad and team that he wants, I think we'll definitely be back where we were a few years ago.
Fair. I mean, I'm probably going to say I'm Ollie indifferent. So I'm not going to say I'm Ollie out because for the 2 reasons mainly. As one, at the end of the day, he still finished 2nd in the league, and you don't sack someone in the context 2nd in the league because I think the Glazers' standard for the club right now, in my opinion, is just getting top 4. You know, that for me is what's Bayern sacked Flick and won the UCL. I assume you mean Bayern sacked Niko Kovac, and I think they won the UCL with Flick, if that's what you mean. Chelsea fired Lampard and won the UCL. That's a fair point. I
just think, you know, with our team, if you sacked Ole and brought somebody in, I don't see them having a transformation like Tuchel did for Chelsea, where he shored them up at the back. You know, Lampard was playing Tammy Abraham, he was playing Alonso. Tuchel came in, he changed his system straight away, put 3 at the back, played with wing backs, and they were just like, he did well with what the players were. I don't think United have got a squad where someone's going to come in and change the system and suddenly make us a way better team and win the league and win the Champions League. No way. We need players regardless. So give Solskjaer the chance with the players. If he gets back to this summer and he falls short again, then I think fine. Yeah, he's had a good crack at the whip now, and we need to give somebody else a chance. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I don't go too hard on Solskjaer is because fundamentally he hasn't fully been backed, and I try and judge him based on his tactical experience as a manager. Now, I am harsh because at the end of the day, like, I think people still treat this guy as if he's like in the level of Arteta or the level of Lampard. He's not. He's been a manager at Mulder. He's had years of managerial experience, so not necessarily at the highest level, but it's been there, you know. So it's not like he's just got his coaching badges and stuff.
Yeah, the PE teacher is the usual joke, isn't it?
Which is nonsense, you know. So he knows his things. So therefore, when he makes tactical mistakes and blunders, I will obviously call him out on it. But at the end of the day, he's still got a 2nd place, and we're still yet to see him. Because the thing about those managers with Lampard and Flank is that those managers preceding beforehand were backed significantly, and that's the difference. We need to look at context. Same thing with Conte. Same thing. A lot of all these managers that people linking Janssen with is that those clubs spent money and got them multiple signs and backed their managers. It's just that the managers that they didn't perform. I still don't think that Solskjaer's been backed properly in the positions that he needed. You know, whether it's right winger, he wanted Grealish, he wanted a sense back. I think in this summer last summer he probably wanted a right winger, a striker, a centre back, and another midfielder in Grealish. He didn't get any of those.
Actually, got no one doing it. He got Tellez, Van der Beek, and Cavani was a last minute thing, which is probably one of the things he wanted. And you think how much we've improved. We've gone from 3rd to 2nd, and we got to a final, and how different the conversation would be if we would have won that game, and we really should have. Everyone would have been saying, amazing job, considering you hardly strengthened the team. You've got a few squad players in, apart from Cavani.
Exactly.
So now back him even more, and yeah, we're talking about surely you're going to be maybe pushing City for the title, but they're probably going to go and get Harry Kane and Jack Grealish, win it by 20 points again, because they're just a freaking. They're just.
And I think this is the thing. And I think that's why it comes about to standards, guys. And for those who are still watching, is that at the end of the day, everything has to be understood in the context of the Glazers run Manchester United Football Club, and does sacking Ollie necessarily mean that we're in a better position, a better position, now than we were then, if that makes any sense, so okay, we sack Ollie tomorrow, okay, you get I guess what I'm saying is I think a lot of people just think that, okay, if we sack, I mean Zidane, possibly it was maybe an argument I'd make, just because I think that Zidane's man management skills are probably quite good, and I think that because the type of players, and because he would get a lot of respect because of who he is and how he's been, I think that that's probably the only exception that I would make, because he's Zidane. But aside from that, a lot of these other managers, maybe they have different personal taskmasters and would often not get on with the board, and so you have to wonder, does Conte come in and make United go from second to first, for example, with the same backing, if not potentially less backing, that the likes of previous managers had? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Zidane's a good shout, but I just don't think. I hope that. I don't see. Surely they can't. They wouldn't sack him after finish second and get into the final.
No.
And now they need to back. If they don't back him again, then I really don't know what they want, because they've spent 2.5 years now letting him in, getting his philosophy in, trying to build his team and making progress. Now, surely, like I said, Klopp at Liverpool, it's taken him a few years, and now they got a lot of momentum. They've had a bad year this year compared to winning the league and winning the Champions League, but they're not gonna sack him. They're gonna back him, because look what he's done previously. And I think this season is massive. I think this will be his defining season and a defining summer, because if he wins something next season, we get some players, I think then he will have that longevity, and people will know and be like, oh, he can rebuild a team like Ferguson did. You go through multiple rebuilds. You stick with the same manager, but you start to rebuild the squad, because the older players retire and move on, and you bring new people in, and that's what I want, and that's the way I think is a sustainable and good way to run a football club, is to try and get that, and that's the kind of the DNA of Man United, isn't it, and the way they do things.
Yeah, I agree. But like I said, it's you put the nail on the head. It really does come down to, do they want to back him or not? I think, as cold as it sounds, it's almost like back him or sack him in a way.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah.
If you're not going to back him, and I said this with Jose as well, and I think that's my thing. I'm almost getting a bit of Jose vibes, not from Ollie himself, but just the idea of, we were second in the league again. We didn't win any trophies, and we're thinking, okay, listen, maybe we can close on City next season. Just back him, give him a good window, and let's go ahead. And he got sacked because all other teams, it didn't work out. He fell out, obviously, with the players, but also other teams improved. And I don't want to see this with Ollie, where we're talking about all this stuff, and then at the end of the day, he gets he gets Pereira and Phil Jones fit, and that's his summer signings. And he's expected to, and we're like, we come 8th, and we're like, we have to let you go. I'm like, why don't you back this guy? I think
he's done enough and shown enough, hasn't he, with the players and the squad that he's got. That give this. He must, like you said, last year they wanted Sancho, didn't they? Remember in the pre-season there was some footage of him talking, and he was saying, "We're sorted." And it's like they want 120 million, and it was just too much. The Glazers didn't want to pay out for that. Surely now with 80, we've paid 80 for Pogba, we've paid 80 for Maguire, and that was years ago. So surely, I think that's a bargain. 80 million for Sancho right now. He's one of the best creative wingers, goal scorers in Europe, and we'd be absolutely mad if we don't go all out to get him. It sounds like we're the preference for him as well. So come on, if we can't get that deal done, there's something seriously wrong going on at the club and behind the closed doors. I really got to question what's happening and who these people are making these transfer deals if that doesn't get done.
I mean, I think there is something seriously wrong with the club, regardless, to be honest, because, you know, I just look at Liverpool. You know, when I think we lost the final, you know, and I want to quickly go on to the final topic before this, which is regarding what we need for next season. Actually, this goes into it, you know. So, but when what we, you know, it was almost insulting after the Villarreal game. We're seeing reports where, United hierarchy were trying to sort out transfer targets, discuss with social transfer targets or something like that. It's almost to say like, okay, guys, it's a bad result, but listen, we're working on getting transfer targets in to make you guys feel better and to show we're improving. And then the following day, it's just announced that Liverpool signed Konate. So you're sort of like, it was like, why are you shouldn't be, you know what would be showed that you were serious if you'd announced Sancho was coming 2 days after.
Yeah, get it done before the Euros even start, because that's just going to bump his price up. As soon as he has a few good games for England, they're going to be like, oh, actually, back to 120, thanks. Get it done now.
You know, I don't get why Chelsea, and this is why I do come on the board, so I don't get why Chelsea, Liverpool, even Arsenal, I think all these teams, City, all these teams do better transfer business than we do and know how to get it done. So they get their transfer deals done early on in the season, aside from mega deals, but they get them done.
Yeah.
Why do you think that Manchester United, you know, we're basically going to negotiate for 2 months and then maybe either say, no, we can't do it 2 days before the transfer window closes, or we'll just pay the money anyway. In which case, why don't you do it at the start? And why can you go and get? Why can't we sign multiple targets at the same time? Like, what do you think? What do you think? What's the problem here?
It's been like it for a few years, hasn't it? I honestly think it's down to Ed Woodward and, you know, him being a commercial football director and commercial manager. It's about the commercial signings, getting the hype in. The deadline day signings probably sells more shirts and get the hype is increased more. If you like buy players earlier, then they kind of people forget about it, or if it's before a tournament. Honestly, I think his mind is completely all about the business model and the way to make it work for a business. It's like when you put out an advertising campaign for a new product. I think that's how his works and how he's geared up. When is he go? Because he's supposed to be going, isn't it? Is he going like soon, like this week, next month, or is he going before the new season starts? Because I think that will have a massive implication on again how we do the transfer business. If he stays, I can see it being the same thing, like last minute deadline day, Cavani sort of sign in and not much else.
I mean, to be honest, you know, the guy that I think that's going to replace me is is it the Matara guy? That's also a guy that's been there. I mean, supposedly we have a director of football now in John who's there, and that supposedly is going to change things. But United just seems to be an old boys club, to be honest with the way that for me is going into next season beyond. That's the really concerning thing for me, where I want United to be a centre of excellence where we get the best in the world regardless. And right now, it just looks like this seems to be a club that's basically an old man's club. Not in the sense of I'm cussing their age, but in terms of mates. You know, I know you've worked at the club for a while. We're all good. We all get together. All the goal can all get Carrick, get Fletcher. We're all good. And it's like,
right, yeah.
But putting that aside, I mean
I'm probably saying that it's kind of the same thing, but I think someone like Van der Sar, who's done a really good job as director of football at Ajax, and you know, got them to European finals and stuff, and they have a really similar ethos, I think, to United in the way they bring their academy players through and the brand of football they play. And obviously he was an ex-player, so I think somebody like that would be good. Somebody who actually, you know, was a footballer and knows football and knows tactics, not like all these commercial business people. They do it for monetary reasons. They don't really understand what these players are needed for on the pitch.
So what do you think that United need next season? Before we start, we're also saying, what do you think the United desperately need to get in next season? And we'll round up.
Yeah, I know Sancho seems to be the main person on the headlines and stuff at the moment. It's probably because of his profile, but I think defense, like you said, we scored a lot of goals. Scoring goals hasn't been a problem. If you looked at the table, I don't think we were I think we were probably the second top goal scorers in the season behind City. I would have thought probably scored more than Liverpool as well. I'm just guessing that at the moment. I'm pretty sure when I looked, a few weeks ago, that was the case. So it wasn't. Yeah, we scored 73 goals, so we're the second. 10 goals behind City. They scored 83, but we conceded 44. So our defense was worse than Liverpool. They conceded 42. City conceded 32. Chelsea conceded 36. West Ham conceded 47. We only conceded 3 less goals than West Ham. So that the amount of points there, if we get a really good centre back, bolster up that defence, I think we concede probably maybe 5 to 10 less goals, and those would just they translate into points. They translate into wins in the cups, and that's where you get the silverware. So that for me is number one. As good as Sancho would be, and amazing, because then it would complete the 6 that you mentioned there with the 2 players in each position. That'd be awesome. But I think centre back, we've got to get a centre back.
Also, fire the defensive coach, whoever it is. You got to fire the defensive coach, because
whoever's doing the set piece training needs, definitely.
Someone needs to, because there's one thing to sign a centre back, and I think there's going to sign a Walker centre back, but when you're making the same mistakes like over and over and over and over again from the same type of thing, you do have to wonder what exactly is going on. I assume that people look at games and go, right, okay, so this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. You should have gone closer. You should have been tighter. You should have been more physical. Get your positions. Maybe we shouldn't do zonal marking. Maybe we should do man, whatever.
Yeah.
And then adjust accordingly. But whoever's doing the defensive coaching, I've not seen any real improvements from start to finish. And if anything, it's been due to individual brilliance at times when we've actually been able to do things like actually what Bailly did in the Villa game, than actually seeing a clear progression in how this team actually defends, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally. I think we've mentioned here, haven't we, like the Calvert-Lewin goal against Everton and the Villarreal goal was almost like a carbon copy. And I'm sure there's probably more goals. Like we've definitely conceded a lot from set pieces. So yeah, you see it. You've probably watched the documentaries like the All or Nothing with Tottenham and Man City, and you see, there's video analysts who they look at every detail, don't they? And they go to the players and say, this is how you need to improve. This is what you did wrong. But I don't know. It seems that if the exact same thing's happening again, you really do question what is happening. Maybe we just need an Amazon documentary and we can figure out who it is. And then we know to
get him out.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, guys. Jay, thank you so much for being on. Remember, guys, Rivalry Aside TV. Please send the link will be in the description. Please subscribe and follow Jay on to actually get your to put up, because that will actually make it easier. So at Jay_ATV. Please follow him on Twitter. Please subscribe and support the show. Just as we finish, just a bit, just to plug your channel, just a bit on like what your channel's about and what you guys do and stuff.
Yeah, so we mainly do match previews and watch-alongs. Unfortunately, we have a massive Liverpool camp, so we really need some United fans to come over, please. So one of our main hosts is a Liverpool fan, and we've just hired 2 more people, so there's 3 now, and then there's me, the only United fan, a Spurs fan, a West Ham fan, and a Villa fan. So come over, get involved. I'm going to be doing more watch-alongs next year for the Euros. We got some discussions and previews and watch-alongs a while, so come and get involved, because there's a very heavy Liverpool bias at the moment, and we really want to turn that around and get some Manchester Reds in as well. We're going to be we do prediction shows as well, so we're going to be doing a predictions league next year that fans can get involved in and win some prizes, and doing the Premier League fantasy football as well. We'll be doing a league there, so all good fun stuff. Come and get involved. Yeah, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. You're on mute, buddy.
I'm on mute. Sorry about that. Said Bert Raccoon, I think there needs to play up front next season. Already shown promise. He did miss the penalty there, So, but
chance to shine.
Shout out to watching on Twitch, by the way. We are on Twitch as well. I'm streaming on Twitch. It's Red Devil Studio. Link again is in the description. So, if you want us on Twitch, I'll be trying to do more live watch-alongs on Twitch as opposed to YouTube. So please get involved there and appreciate it. So thanks, guys. Take care, everyone. Peace and cheers.
Cheers for having me.